Hello, today I'm going to teach you how to teach an inductive model lesson on prefixes in the Spanish class. So before anything, I want to introduce you what the inductive model is. And here you have an example. Inductive model is when teacher brings examples and then explains the rules. So basically, the students have to analyze examples to make generalizations of a rule. Students need to identify similarities and differences from the examples. So the students have to start observing the concept, and then they have to make generalizations, and then at the end they know and learn the whole concept. So they start inductive, right? So then I'm gonna tell you benefits about this. So some benefits about this is like, since the students are learning since the beginning and then analyzing material, you can see that analyzing is already on the fourth level of the Bloom's taxonomy. So this means that students can be thinking in a higher level since the beginning. So this is a benefit that this inductive method provides to the students. So then after that, I'm gonna tell you how can you start a lesson plan about prefixes in Spanish using the inductive model. So here are the steps. Step 1, you have to have a goal. Step 2, you have to have a lesson procedure. And step 3, you need an assessment, of course. So here are the examples that are made, that I already made for the lesson plan, which is goal. I put students will learn grammar about prefixes in Spanish, right? And then the objective, students will be able to analyze the difference between different type of prefixes in order to categorize them. So here you can see that they will analyze, as I said, and then they were gonna categorize. And then if you're from Texas, you're familiar with ticks. Don't forget to put your ticks in your lesson plan. Okay, so after that, then I'm gonna start talking about the phases that the inductive model has. So the first phase is called, it's called lesson procedure, let's say. And then here you have the lesson introduction. It's when you need to teach prefixes in Spanish, but you need to start asking a question. So when you're going to introduce the topic, you have to ask a question like, guys, do you know that there are categories of words based on their first letters? So then the students can start thinking. And then here you can give them examples. For examples, there's words like incómodo, inconveniente, increíble, imposible. So then here the students can start thinking, oh, okay, so she's talking about words and she's talking about beginning of words. Let me start thinking, right? So then let's continue, which the convergent phase. Here is when you're gonna tell them, guys, right now you need to start thinking and looking for similarities and differences, okay? So then you need to tell the students, it's time to write these words down. So if we have the prefijo despeinar, they have to write it down and then tell them, guys, you need to highlight the beginning of the word, des. Now let's go to example number 2, exalumno. Guys, you need to write exalumno and highlight X. So then they can start thinking and ask them, oh, do you see more similarities between the words that we saw earlier in these words? What are the similarities that you see, right? So questions that you can ask are, what do these words have in common? Or does anyone know the meaning of the first words, which is basically a prefix? And then 3, who can tell me the beginning of the word that coincide in English and Spanish? So for example, the word inconveniente from the first example in English is inconvenient, right? So they can see, oh, miss, I know this word in English. It sounds like Spanish and I know the meaning. So they can start making connections from language A to language B. This is a good strategy for ESL students as well. If they're learning English and they are in their Spanish class, they can start thinking, oh, okay, I can make this connection for both languages. So this is good. And then, does anyone know the name of the concept in English about the beginning of the word? So maybe there's students who already know this concept. And then, does anyone know more words with the same beginning, right? So you can start asking, oh, tell me more words with the same beginning, and then they can tell you more. So here I put the handbook. remember you have to give them a handbook before introducing the word prefix. So here you have a handbook. So after having the handbook, now you can go ahead with the other phase, which is the closure. Here you need to tell the students and explain the prefix, right? You're going to tell them, okay, you were learning about prefixes, and you can make a turn and talk and explain them the definition in English and Spanish. After that, you have the application phase, which is when now they have to prove their knowledge, so they can make a set of complete sentences by categorizing words by using the prefixes. And then after that, you have the assessment. Remember, you can use either formative or summative. So the students will need to categorize in a chart the words by analyzing the prefixes. So in this way, you can see that the last phases are actually really good for the students, right? So remember, you have the closure, and then the application phase where they have to apply the knowledge, and then after the application, which is independent work, the assessment. Okay, guys, so now you already know a little bit more about the inductive model, and now you can know how to make a lesson on prefixes for the Spanish class. Thank you.